Here she is, everybody! Denise Richards, everybody! The great Michael Ironside, everybody! Here we go himself, it's Casper Van Short chair? Guys, we need an extra chair.
Get Red Check a chair.
Can we get a comfy chair for Mr. Michael Ironside?
Maybe a short chair.
Short chair for Michael Ironside is on its way, hopefully, okay?
I have false knees now.
We want you to be comfortable. This is a packed room, Michael. Welcome. All right, guys.
Bald heads, though.
He likes a shorter chair.
Okay, so we're gonna, if you guys can work on a better, here comes a good chair for Mr. Michael Ironside. How about this? He deserves the best. All right, guys, let's dive right in since we're running a little late. Congratulations, 27 years later, on this amazing classic that stands the test of time. Take me back, first of all. This is Paul Verhoeven, sci-fi, royalty, RoboCop, Total Recall, of course. Was this a hot thing for a young actor? Was this like the buzz of the town to try to get in on Starship Troopers? What do you remember? Dina?
Oh yes, it was the talk of the town. It was the buzz. It was all the rage, and we were all very excited to have the opportunity to read for Paul and get in on this action.
Does anybody remember specifically their audition? Denise, Casper, what do you remember?
Well, I definitely remember screen testing with Casper. We were the only ones they were screen testing, so we knew if we didn't get it, we really effed up.
That's true. Paul had to do, for the studio in his contract, he had to give them at least a couple screen tests. So they wanted a screen test, but he didn't. When I went there, I said, who am I testing against? He goes, no, they said a couple screen tests, so I'm just doing you and Denise.
Paul does what he wants.
Yeah, so he only wanted us. And so, so Denise is 100% correct. If we screwed the screening, the test up, it was totally on us.
And Michael, you obviously knew from experience the legendary Paul Verhoeven, having worked with him before. When he comes to you with this material, is it an easy conversation? Is it what Paul wants I'm going to do, or are there some major questions when he came to you?
It's kind of lady. Do you know this story?
I've heard elements.
Yeah, my grandfather was a member of a group called the 100 or 110, I can't remember, they were all sci-fi writers. And the writer of Starship Troopers was kind of a controversial guy, very right-wing. He believed that if you weren't willing to kill for your country, you should be allowed to vote. He also wrote an address. He was a cross-dresser, transsexual. He wrote a book right after Starship Troopers called The Citizen's Handbook, very much like whatever that, what is it called, 2027 or 2020?
Project 2025.
Yeah, very much like that. I'm not looking at this kind of shite. Sorry, I don't mean to be political.
Starship Troopers.
I'm Canadian, so I can fucking say what I'm
Figure out, which I actually think it's funny. He's still a gentleman. No, I think it's also a coming of age of all of us, that, including you, Michael, finding who we are and trying to, and pursuing our career and choosing that over love, sorry. But, but I think it's a wonderful, I think that's why we're still sitting on this stage, is that there's a timeless factor with this movie that resonates with generations younger than us, which is wonderful.
What do you guys recall of the opening and release of this film? Michael alluded to this a little bit. It was a bit misinterpreted at the time by many critics. There were a lot of think pieces about it that kind of saw the surface level stuff and not the underpinnings of it. Was it a disappointment at all that it wasn't being kind of understood?
Well, of course, we were definitely disappointed that it was missed. And I was kind of confusing to see that, because you'd go like, like Michael said, when you go to England, they had these posters just plastered down the tubes and tunnels going, war, it's war! And like, you know, the propaganda, they got it so wonderfully. So you'd see that, and then you'd see where it missed in other places, and you'd go, how do people miss that? But today's young audience will come up to us now and they'll go, there's no way people missed the satire back then. That's so blatant. And I'd be like, you guys have the internet and you have your people that showed you. So no, it is shocking. It was disappointing. But you know, the brilliance of Paul Verhoeven and Ed Neumeyer, who wrote RoboCop and Starship Troopers, is that they create a film that still is being talked to, you know, this long after, and it gets people to debate and talk about it from both sides, and claim that it's their movie. So it's an intelligent movie, and they're intelligent filmmakers, and I think that's the longevity that it's had. So I'm glad in a way now that it was misinterpreted a lot back then, or missed, and I was sad at the time, and sometimes I regret it, but it's exciting to see the life it still has.
Not many films, again, 25 plus years later, are you able to gather for this kind of conversation, as you well know. We're going to go to some audience questions in a minute, so I think there's some microphones I can't see. And asked for you to say they sucked his brains out. Don't kill the messenger, I'm just telling you, they want you to say that line.
That was in homage to Scanners.
It took way too long.
And
That was hard.
the writer put it in the film.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I tried.
We did that line in the film. It was actually an homage to Scanners to David Cronenberg. I'm going to suck your brains out, everything you are. It's going to become me, brothers should be close, don't you think? So they put that, suck his brains out, you know. And I remember saying, really? You want me to do that? And Paul goes, just do it. Okay. Yep. You asked about death scene. I don't remember my death scene. It was like 105 in the degree that day.
Yeah, it was very
You got me in a Formica pit, you know, so the sun went down beautifully, Paul said, and I'm in this contraption where I'm standing in it, and I got these false legs, and I got heat stroke, and I don't remember the actual death. But you would Rico do it?
Yeah, he said, yeah, because he said,
You don't know what to do.
he said, what do I say? And I told him, and then he just said it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember down. I just remember being really hot and waking, kind of coming to in an emergency room with IVs and everything. I got 2 days off.
It was a shocking day because I was watching him, and he'd been my mentor, like they said. You know, I still hear his voice a lot in my life, in acting and stuff like that, but watching him in that was not a fun thing, because I thought, well, at first I thought he's just doing a great job dying. But he really was, so he was, you know, and then when he didn't know the line, I knew there was something wrong, because he always knew his shit, so he's never once, but he's just, what's my line? And I told him,
I'm method trained.
and then Dina knocked herself out. And, I know she's a knockout, but she knocked herself out. So I was down 2.
Yeah, it was a hard scene because we're pulling him out with no legs. We're in unstable vermiculite. It's hot, the sun is shining, and I pulled him out, and I kind of lost my footing, and I smacked my head on the ground, and I was like, good night.
Yeah, those suits didn't breathe. They were made out of Kevlar, and mine had footies in it, so you didn't even have, like, at the end of the day, you used to turn upside down and pour all the sweat and shit out. And they were not the easy. After 6 months of shooting in this wardrobe, you didn't look forward to going to work. You know what I mean?
Did all of
Absolutely
you,
true.
did all of you go through the famed like Dale Dye boot camp experience? And this, you guys probably know Dale Dye. He's like the best in the business at doing what
Not
he does.
me.
Yeah, we had about 2 weeks of training before we started shooting. But the first night was the fun night.
Oh my God.
We were going to camp out for 2 weeks to really, learn how to be tough soldiers and not these, prima donna actors from Hollywood. We were going to be, he was going to train us, and we were going to be, badass soldiers. And the first night that we were going to camp out, we had our spring ponchos that we used to make our hooches, which is a tent with sticks and the poncho, and now we've got our cover, we've got our spring sleeping bags, and that night we say goodnight everybody, we're doing this, we're eating our MREs, our meals ready to eat, anybody that's been in the military. And we say goodnight, we'll see you in the morning. We go to sleep, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I feel like these cold shards of glass hitting me in the face sideways. Like, what is that feeling? Like, we're in the middle of Hell's Half Acre, there's no light, there's nothing, and there's like cold ice pellets hitting me in the face. We all get up, and it's like, it's a hailstorm. We've got our springtime sleeping bags and our little, anyway, so it was like an emergency, like, you know, we got to get out, we have to get to some shelter. Denise, and you were helping with Denise, weren't you? We were out up on the bar.
With Casper came to my tent.
Yeah, and then we went up to the cafe on top. We waited.
Oh, well, first we had a sleepover. Me, him, and Jay.
I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, no, we had a slumber party. I had to. So I wasn't supposed to be at the boot camp, and I begged Paul to let me go, and I was able to go. So, but I stayed where Dale died and Mike were.
Hero of the Federation!
He's the real thing, too.
Wait, I saw the movie. You guys shouldn't be getting along this well. Clancy, have a seat. We have a seat for you. Welcome, Clancy. So we've been reminiscing about this classic movie from 27 years back. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think back to Starship Troopers, to the making of this film?
Just how brilliant it was, and what a lousy reception it got. I had a bet with a guy that worked for Roland Emmerich. He said, your movie's not going to make $60 million. I said, are you kidding me? Of course it is. It's Paul Verhoeven. It's Michael Ironside. It's Dina Meyer. It's all these people, and it's going to be great special effects and all that. And sure enough, he won. But nobody remembers the movie that we were betting would make more. Everybody remembers this movie.
That's right.
It's just a shame we don't have Jake here for the traumatic knife injury that Clancy inflicted upon him. But does anybody have a specific memory of working with Clancy on set?
I remember beating his ass. And then getting my throat stepped on.
I'm sorry.
Remember? The mark on my neck, and he stepped on me.
All is forgiven 27 years later. By the way, Clancy's in this, you've probably seen The Penguin, a fantastic show. And if you're able to stick around for we have a couple more minutes. We're doing some audience questions, so let's go back over here. Yep.
One of the things that I thought was so fantastic about the film is that very subtly it mentions that the humans started the war. A lot of people missed that part. Was that something you at all reflected on, the irony of the fact that the whole problem was created by humans and was just reflected our own xenophobia? Was it anything that was discussed or considered, getting into the science fiction of the film? Especially Michael, you.
Sorry, I got distracted by my water spill. I'm sorry.
So
That'd be a question for Paul.
Well, he's not here, so you have to represent him.
Too bad, huh?
But I mean, sometimes the actors will sit down and discuss things like that as plot points and enlighten them in terms of their ideas about the film. Did it ever come up, the irony of the fact that the bugs were attacked by us?
We were the bad guys?
Yeah, we were the bad guys, yeah.
I guess more, if I could just spin that a little bit more, like, generally speaking, were the politics of the film discussed, or are you, because again, you're kind of playing the surface, and the stuff is underneath of what people can read into it. So I guess it's not necessarily to discuss beyond that initial conversation you had, Michael.
Can I read the source material?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. There we go.
Do your part.
Sometimes I would go to Paul, I would say, Paul, I can't say, like, just do it, just say it just like that, that's perfect, just do it. So that was my discussion.
Nothing happens by accident in Paul's films. Nothing happens by accident in any of Paul's films. he's one of those directors that has control over everything. You know, like I've said before, I've done like 300 some odd films. There's only about 5 that are real true directors that have an image. It goes to the medium and it goes into the audience mind with the least amount of distortion. And Paul's one of those people. You know, he was very specific about what he wanted, how he wanted it, and where he wanted it. You know, and it really is, if you're gonna look at stuff like that, a political statement, like I said, he was a war rat. He was raised, you know, in the Netherlands and stuff right after the Second World War. And I don't think any of that was by accident. You know, Paul is a very, also Paul is not, I don't think Paul really wants to isolate or polarize people. He
There.